Okay, so again, good afternoon for our study of James chapter 1. And what we have here is, teka lang po. Okay, so chapter 1 tayo. It will, we have two parts. First is impressions on James. We're done with the authorship, with the sino yung author, the recipients, time of writing. And then we will be talking about the opening of James, which is ending until verse 11, and then the blessedness of the one who perseveres. Very interesting yung final sections ng yung ng ating discussion for the moment. And then part 2 is Sermon on the Mount and James. So, okay. So, impressions on James. When we say impressions, these are feedbacks or opinions, no, given by the authors. Pero ito. Teka lang. Sige. Good. Okay, ayon kay Martin Luther, no, he described the James as an epistle of straw, no? Word and Sacrament 1519. The holy Christian people are recognized by their possession of the holy word of God. To be sure, not all have it in equal measure, as Saint Paul says. Some possess the word in its complete purity, others do not. Those who have the pure word are called those who build on the foundation with gold, silver, and precious stones. Those who do not have it in its purity are the ones who build on the foundation with wood, hay, and straw, and yet will be saved through fire. Remember, sinabi ni Paul ito sa, I think, 2 Corinthians, no? Yung it will be tested by fire, yung yung different types of material. So for Martin Luther, yung mga letters ni Paul, the 13 letters, can be considered as precious, no? Like gold. Meanwhile, ito namang what you call, yung writings ni James daw ay mababang value daw to, no? Mababang uri. Parang kagaya raw ito ng mga hay, no? Hay na madaling masunog, no? So in the 16th century, Martin Luther argued that many of the received texts of the New Testament lack the authority of the Gospels, no? And therefore proposed removing a number of books from the New Testament, including Hebrews, James, Jude, and the book of Revelation. So practically, except for Peter and John's letters, no, parang tinanggal na yung buong general letters, no? Yun yung kanyang proposal. The reasons for Luther are as follows. The author, according to him, James, was not an apostle. So, James was not part of the 12 because he is not James, the son of Zebedee. And moreover, he is not Paul. No? So, Paul kasi is considered as one of the 12. Second, because James was not part of the 12, automatically yung number 2. It is not apostolic. And then it contradicted justification by faith alone. This is again, this is the impression ni James, no? I'm not saying this is true. And somehow, parang nakikita na natin na parang naiintindihan na natin yung debate kung pag-aaralan natin yung James chapter 2 verse 14 and onwards, no? And what else? Concerning James' contradiction of Paul on justification, some have drawn attention to Luther's controversial statement. I almost feel like throwing Jimmy. Si James yon, no? I'm all throwing Jimmy into the stove, no? Kasi most likely, of course, we could think about Luther's impression na ano, hindi nga siya natutulungan ng ano na 'to 'no, ng ng, ah, area ng ano 'no, faith without works is dead. And then Luther listened to, Schmedenstied, ewan ko kung tama yung pronunciation ko nun 'no, to defend it against the objection. James 2:22 rather, says that Abraham was justified by works, therefore justification is not by faith 'no. At yun yung parang siguro breaking point ni ano 'no, ni Martin Luther to say na this is inspired. Tapos nako-contradict yung kanyang ano 'no, yung nakikipaglaban dun sa Roman Catholic Church, yung Roman Catholic faith, na nag-e-emphasize about indulgences, sacraments, allegiance to the Pope, doctrine of purgatory, doctrine of merit, et cetera, no? So, isa pa yung kay Norman Perry, who is a New Testament theologian na nasa Panginoon na. Ito yung pamagat ng kanyang introductory book. He said, the epistle has no discernible structure. Much of sorry. So, it's simply, according to Norman Perry, no discernible structure. But if you remember yung presentation ko last meeting about the outline coming from Douglas Moo, merong ano doon, may discernible structure doon based from the themes, no, and then the vocabulary used by James. So this was before, and again I remember one of my colleagues also said, no, na parang hindi maintindihan yung ano, no, arrangement ni James, to the point that others were saying na parang si James daw itapon na lang ng tapon ng topic, no. But I disagree with that, no, I disagree with that. Siguro thankful na lang tayo that meron ng ano, no, yung continuous progression sa ano, no, understanding ng New Testament. Ito. Sabi ni Howard Clarke, the epistle is merely a conglomeration of loosely strung together parenetic sayings. Has been the argument by many scholars that there is no theme or controlling purpose in this little book. Perhaps it is a repetition na lang ng sinabi ko, na at least coming from a New Testament scholar na sociological yung approach niya. Si A. Mayer, sa kanyang aklat na Cambridge History, the letter is Catholic, not individual. It is a vehicle of ecumenical Christianity, and there is no hint of any personal bond between the author and his readers. So this is a comparison, of course, between the letter of James and then the writings of Paul, no? Writings of Paul. So again, I do not know kung para kay Mayer is ano ba to? Is it a looking down on the book of James, or is it just a mere observation, ano? Kasi baka yun na naman ang hypothesis niya, yung kagaya ng kay Martin Luther na lower in grade ang ang book of James, no. Si R.V.G. Tasker, sabi niya, the epistle of James is outside the main development of Christianity. When he said main development, it refers to in comparison to the missionaries of Paul, no, doon sa sa Gentile churches, which is Greco-Roman, no. Okay. And then kay Helmut Koster, 1982, the epistle is an important witness to the continuing tradition of the Jerusalem Church in the Hellenistic world. So ito very very positive naman, ano. Pero at the same time ay truthful. So these are the list, no? Okay. So for Luther, first it is an epistle of straw, and again, James was not an apostle, so walang hindi sakop ng inspiration, no? Norman Perrin, there is no discernible structure. And then the letter is Catholic, not individual. And then kay Tasker, most Jewish among the Christian documents. And then for Coster, it is a witness to the tradition of the Jerusalem Church. Allow me to to explain further yung when I say witness. When I say witness, it means kasi both the applicable din to sa Old Testament, no? Both the author and the recipients, puro na sila nasa Panginoon na, no? So what is left to us is the document. So which means the document is the witness, no? To what happened, to what God. For example, in the book of Exodus, God parted the Red Sea, no? Nung tinas ni Moses yung he was commanded by God. So again, wala na si Moses, wala na rin yung Israelites, ancient Israelites, at wala rin si God na bilang speaker dun sa narrative. But what we have is the document. So I do not need further explanation to this, no? Kasi kayo naman ay mga second year students. Okay, so the opening of James. Who is James? This is an additional explanation to what we had last meeting. James, a bond slave of God, the Lord Jesus Christ, of the 12 tribes of the dispersion, is salutation, pagbati. James had become Christ's convert and his servant. James uses this title not only because of a keen awareness of the prophet-like authority, no, because he is aware of the self-degrading attitude in which his brother offered the atonement. So again, this is a posture of humility, no? Coming from coming from James Adamson. So who were the dispersion being referred to? So para kay Paysort, Martin Davids, which means marami-rami ito, it means the Jewish people as a whole, and is not limited to extra Palestinian Jewish Christians, no? When we say extra Palestinian Jewish Christians, we remember there were proselytes, no? Jewish proselytes who came from different backgrounds and perhaps even ethnicities, no? Pero they embraced Judaism. I'm not very sure kung applicable example ito yung yung Magi, no? Na they were looking for the king of the Jews, and they encountered the Magi went to Jerusalem to look for the child, no, na sinasabing king of the Jews. So why am I saying? Kasi we think na perhaps ito mga Magi na to ay merong silang bahid ng Judaism sa kanila, no? And when we talk about the dispersion in 722, the northern kingdom of Israel fell to the Assyrians, composed of the 10 tribes, no? And this also has a bearing when we talk about the yung Book of Revelation, kasi sa Book of Revelation pinapakita dito na kompleto sila no? Sa Book of Revelation. However, dahil doon sa pananakop ng Assyrians doon sa 10 tribes, no? Na-assimilate sila, and ang naging result is what we call the Samaritans, no? Samaritans. So mga sila Israelites with mixed blood, no? Mixed blood. Kaya when during the time ni Nehemiah at Ezra, ano talaga no, pinalalayas talaga nila yung ano no, yung itong mga Samaritans na to, itong mga nagsasabing sila ay Israeli, pero nakapag-asawa sila ng mga taga-ibang lahi while they were in exile, no? At nagkaroon sila ng children na unfortunately they were not included, no? Kaya no, it left only the tribes of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi in the south. And we remember si Apostol Pablo when he said about when he talk about yung kanyang Benjamite heritage, no? That he was from the tribe of Benjamin, no? Tinitingnan ni tinitingnan ni Apostol Pablo yon ng ano no, with great importance, no? That he was a Benjamite, no? Merong alat, merong halong angas, no? No? Na ganoon, no? Kaya naman sabi ni Trebilco, Diaspora Judaism, by the 1st century AD, there were significant Jewish communities throughout the Greco-Roman world, so that there were probably few major cities or regions that were without a community of resident Jews. Kaya naman, this is not ano no, siguro kaya nagtataka kayo no. When we talk about biblical scholarship, we always look at the evidences, no. We always look at the evidences. First is yung ano no, yung Book of Acts, no. Whenever si Apostol Pablo goes into a city, an important city rather, he first goes to the synagogue, no? Pupunta muna siya sa synagogue. At yun muna ang i-reach out niya. At ang ano niya, ang goal niya rito is because of his ang tawag mo rito, yung prestige niya as a rabbi, no? Ay binibigyan siya ng opportunity to speak in the synagogues, no? At doon, pine-present niya si Jesus, no, as fulfilled from the Old Testament. Kaya naman, that is one. And the second one is excavation, no? By excavations, sinasabi ng mga archaeologists na may mga ano talaga, may mga synagogue talaga, no? At mga writings, no, documents that relate to the no, day-to-day living ng mga no, ng mga Hudyo. And we've seen this in some way, no? Who are the dispersion, different interpretations. First is pwede siyang referring doon sa unconverted Jews, no? Unconverted Jews. Ito lang po, dito ka. Sorry doon ha, makulit yung pusa namin eh. Dapat pala nag-post ako. Anyway, going back. Ay, teka lang. Okay, sorry ha. Ayun, ang Pastor Jonathan yon. Magandang hapon po. Ano tayo, chapter 1a, first part. Okay. So again, ito sila, no? Implying a later Christianized subscription, and then susunod nun, the Jewish nation, no? And then ang sumunod dito, they were Gentile Christians, kagaya ng sinabi well, ayoko maging conclusive dito. Kagaya ng iniisip ni Peter sa 1 Peter 1:1, ano to no, yung mga journeying communities of Jewish and Gentile Christians. And then yung fourth is pwedeng Christian Jews lang. So when we say number 4, exclusive lang siya, no? Exclusive, no? Yung 5 naman, yun naman yung broader perspective, the church as the new Israel. So it is a combination of both Jews and Gentiles, no? Now, if we think of the author, yung initial recipients ng letter, pwedeng number 4. Pero si James, when we look at Acts chapter 15, hindi kasi siya exclusivist eh, no? Hindi ano yung pag may mga believers na mga Gentiles na nakakakilala kay Jesus, no? Parang wini-welcome niya eh. Ganon din naman doon sa Galatians chapter 1, ano? na si Peter pa nga yung parang exclusivist, no? Na ano yon, yung mga Gentiles na ano, parang dinidiscriminate niya, no? Parang merong ganung ano, no, idea. So, yung number 5 is ano, no, acceptable ito, no? Acceptable position yung number 5. Now, kay Adamson pa rin, we believe that our interpretation of the 12 tribes best fits the content of the epistle as a whole. It has been suggested that the phrase is to be taken symbolically of Israel in its fullness. So, symbolic Israel, kagaya ng sinabi ni Apostle Pablo, no? Apostle Pablo na pinag-isa tayo. Sa Colossians, ganun din ang sinabi niya. Hindi, I think sa Ephesian letter, ganun din ang sinabi na Jesus broke the hostility between no Jews and Gentiles, no. So it is the fullness. The church composed of Jewish and Gentile Christians. So the members of this true Israel were in exile from their heavenly home. So ano no, paggamit ng ano no metaphoric language, no. What else? Kay Martin Dibelius, one comes nearer to the underlying concept if one calls to mind the significance which the idea of the true Israel held already for Paul and his churches. So, ang assumption dito ni Martin Dibelius, when we talk about Israel, get na ng mga believers yon na it includes both the Gentiles and the Jews. No, inclusive. So the Christians are not only heirs of the promises given to Abraham and to his descendants, they are also the true circumcision. Philippians 3:3. So nandiyan yung mga verses na Romans 4. And yung paggagamit dito ni Martin de Bellis kay Abraham, kasi si Abraham also again, yung name niya reappeared sa ano no. Nag-appear ulit dito sa letter of James, no. Hindi doon sa flesh na Israel sa 1 Corinthians 10:18. Yet their home is not the earthly Jerusalem but rather the Jerusalem which is above. So again, inclusive, no. Inclusive yung knowledge ni yung presentation ni Martin de Bellis about who itong ano na to, itong 12 tribes na to na ano na within the dispersion. And then according to Philo, he is a Jewish philosopher from Alexandria, no? Ano niya this is a commentary doon sa Leviticus 25. You are proselytes and aliens before me, no? Kagaya ng sinabi ni Philo. For each of us has come into this world as into a foreign city, in which before our birth we had no ano tawag mo dito? Hindi ko makita from here. No part, and in the city he does not sojourn. The corresponding designation must have been transferred to the Christian people of God at a relatively early stage. For 1 Peter 1:1, verses na yan, even in chapter 2:11, presuppose that the terms exiles and aliens have been reinterpreted to mean the situation of the Christians in the diaspora on earth. Now, going back dun sa Leviticus and dun sa Deuteronomy, kasi merong mga verses doon which talks about caring for the aliens, orphans, the widows, and for those sojourners, no? At realizing here, ang root point ni Moses in saying so in his participation dun sa composition ng ano ng Pentateuch is that maging mabait kayo sa mga sojourners kasi ganyan din kayo noon, no? When you were in Egypt, ganyan din kayo noon. So wag niyong imamaltrato, wag niyong pagtatawanan, wag niyong i-degrade, wag niyong i-discriminate. So which means nakita natin yung concept ng pagpapahalaga sa kapwa-tao. Bumabalik talaga siya sa ano, no? Bumabalik siya talaga sa Pentateuch, no? So nandoon pa lamang when we talk about social justice, when we talk about the individual freedom, no? Individual freedom, the rights of the person, the rights of the citizen, no? Yung root niya talaga babalik talaga din sa Pentateuch, sa Pentateuch. And then Hebrews 13:14 sa NIV, for here we do not have an enduring city, but we are looking for the city that is to come. And then yun yung ginamit ni Augustine, no? Doon sa kanyang publication na tinatawag na The City of God, that we are living kunyari dito sa ano no, dito in this world, but we also look forward to the ano, to the heavenly city. Okay? Ito interesting ito galing kay Peter Davids, I remember. Ito. Tingnan niyo ito. Kasi one of the subject matters na inopen ni ano ni James is about trials, no? At ganun din na makikita natin sa ano sa First Peter, no? So, notice here, bibigyan ko na lang ng pansin yung ano, yung Romans, no? And we rejoice in the hope of the glory of God, not only that, but we rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance, endurance produces character, character produces hope, and hope does not put us to shame because God's love has been poured into our hearts through the Holy Spirit. Ngayon, kung titignan mo yung 1, 2, and 3, na, yung 1 Peter 1, 6 to 7, which is the third column, nakapokus siya, so may be found to the result in the praise and glory and honor at the revelation of Jesus Christ. So ang observation sa 1 Peter, eschatological ito, no? It's about the coming of Jesus, no? Now yung James 1, 2 to 4, and then Romans 5, 22, 5, both are referring to dun sa ano, pag-develop ng character, no? Christian character, no? Christian character. So again, mapapaisip kayo, salvation ba talaga ang ina-argue dito, no? So Douglas Murlock tells us that as a result of the persecution connected with the stoning of Stephen, many Jewish Christians were scattered. The verb used is diaspora, cognate to diaspora, no, diaspero, and traveled as far as Phoenicia, Cyprus, and Antioch, where they preached the gospel only among the Jews. Again, yun yung ano, no, yun yung what we call the first missionary journey or reflective, no? Sila Barnabas at si Pablo, when they left Antioch, yun muna mga inabot nila, mga believers, no? Where they preached the gospel only among the Jews. And then we can imagine James, the leader of the Jerusalem church, sending a pastoral admonition to these believers from his home church who had been scattered abroad because of the persecution. So yung isang gustong gamitin ni James yung letter, no, to communicate dito sa mga sinasabi nating mga kababayan, no, kababayan ng mga mananampalataya din at the same time. Again, with Peter Davids, all of these passages, as J. Thomas pointed, contain part of a common tradition, eschatological anticipated joy, a theme which James brings out even more clearly, 1:12, 5:7. All three also see a test of the genuineness of faith taking place. So again, doon pa lamang yung argument na faith without works, nakikita na natin, no? Yung argument. Simula pa lang. So I want us to be very sensitive on that, no? Na the concept yung ano no, almost everything in James carries ano talaga, no? About Christian living and then proving yung ano, no? Proving that we are ano no, true believers in Christ, no? Sabi ng James is verbally closer to 1 Peter, but his thought is closer to Paul's in that both he and Paul value the virtues produced by the trying circumstances rather than the test itself, which Peter values. So again, what are we looking at here? Si Martin Luther, masyado niyang inilayo ang ano inilayo ang Pauline letters at saka James. Pero dito, makita natin, merong kine-create na bridge dito si Peter Davids, no? Meron siyang kine-create na bridge na wag tayong ano, wag nating tingnan na ano lang to about na naman dun sa debate about ano, no? Salvation ay nawawala. Jews, of course, have a long tradition about testing, reaching back to Abraham, no? Kasi si Abraham at saka including si Rahab, no? Kasi sila yung dalawang personalities na ano described sa Book of James eh. The prime example of one who passed the test and to the at when we say he passed the test, ang tinutukoy niya dito yung ano no, yung to sacrifice his son. Si Isaac, no, well, mahirap din naman yung test, no, both for Abraham and for Sarah na ano no, na yung pangako na bibigyan sila ng anak, no. Mahirap din na test 'yon, pero Yung para papatayin mo yung anak mo na inantay mo ng matagal, siguro mas mabigat yon. And again, that is a typology of both para kay Christ at saka dun sa ano, no, dun sa um, yung ano, no, yung Via Dolorosa, no, yung death on the cross, no, the way to Calvary. So Sirach 2:1 to 6, which is part of what we call Jewish wisdom literature, no. Na I would rather call it kaysa apocrypha, no, kasi pag sinabi apocrypha, inaayawan agad ng mga ano eh, mga protestante, no. Ano na lang siya, Jewish wisdom literature, yan. My son, when thou comes to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Set thy heart aright and endure firmly and be not fearful in time of calamity. Accept whatsoever is brought upon thee and be patient in disease and poverty, for gold is proof in the fire, di ba? And men acceptable to God in the furnace of affliction. So again, para yung paggamit ng ano no ng metaphor ng fire, excuse me kasi kaninang umaga may dumi sa mata ko nagmomotor. Si Joachim Jeremias in Davis, Jesus anticipates a similar test of faith in the Q or the Quele. I already explained that last meeting. Blessed are you when men revile you, persecute you, utter all kinds of evil against you, for in my account. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven, for so men persecuted the prophets who were before you. Jesus' words also show similarities to James. Both look sa sinabi ni Jesus at sinasabi ni James, both look to sufferings as external trial. External, which means di siya yung ano, no? I mean, merong mga ano, may mga impulses na nag-result doon sa trial na yon, no? At neither sees suffering as something to be sought. Ibig sabihin, wag naman natin hanapin yung suffering, no? Wag naman natin ipanalangin na gusto mong ma-develop yung character mo, ilagay ka ng Diyos na ano, no? Hindi naman ganoon. But makita natin yung benefit nito kasi lahat naman tayo hindi natin matatakasan yung ano, no, yung suffering. Ang gusto kailangan lamang siguro before I go on ano, before I go on. Dito siguro na nadadala yung ano no, yung statement na sinasabi na pag people experience difficulties, no? Yung kasabihan ng Pilipino na may tinuturo ang Diyos, di ba? May tinuturo ang Diyos. Perhaps din yung ano. However, as a rule of thumb sa akin, no? Sa akin, mga kamanggagawa, hindi ko ginagamit yung term na may tinuturo ang Diyos, no? Kasi minsan napakasakit na nga ng situation. Napakasakit na nga ng situation. Tapos sasabihin mo pa may tinuturo ang Diyos. Ay, lumalabas pa pala, no? Kung babalikan natin, yung Diyos pa pala yung responsible sa suffering mo at gusto kanyang turuan. Kaya parang for me, I try to avoid it. I know there's some sense of biblical referencing to it. Pero ako, um, kasi baka minsan napapasama ko pa yung ano yung magang ano yon rather than minsan maganda samahan mo na lang kahit huwag na lang magsalita, no? Parang ano yun, hindi kailangan din nating tanggapin na hindi natin alam lahat ng sagot no? Bakit nangyayari ito sa buhay? Minsan yung sasabihin, may tinuturo ang Lord, parang ano na lang Sabi naman, may masabi lang, may masabi lang Pero I do not know kung paano yung tinitake ng isang taong ano, no, nakakaranas ng pagsubok. Well, anyway, yun lang ano. Nawala na ako. Ayun. Buti na lamang. Pwede kayo mag-interact ano maganda yung mga ano nyo sinishare na. Okay, what else? Yan. Sabi ni Bob Gundry, temptations translate a Greek word which also means trials. Ay, by the way, hindi ko alam kung meron kayong Greek na ano, no? Kung meron ba kayong biblical Greek na ano, no, na subject.
Sir, meron po. Parang sa pastoral po, isa lang, Greek 1. Ako po may Greek 2 naman.
Okay. Yes, good. Kasi kagaya niyan, yung verb na perasmo, pwede talaga siya sa sinasabi trial Pero pwede rin siya sa temptation. Yun nga lang, kailangan nating tingnan yung difference. Ang trial kasi is a general problem na dumarating. Well, ang temptation is ano yan eh, ang tawag mo doon, pushing you to do sin, ano? So, hindi maganda yon. Kaya nga, in a way, dinidepensahan dito nagiging apologetic si James dito na ang temptation, God is not tempting us eh. No? Baka kasi, ano yun, dahil dun sa trouble or what we call peirasmo na nararanasan natin. Sinasabi, para maisip natin, ano ba, ang hirap naman nito, di ba? Lalo na kunyari, may kinalaman sa pera yung pera. O kaya may kinalaman sa pagiging, yung integrity, no? Na para tuloy pag nape-pressure ka dahil sa kakailangan sa pera, o kaya mga, yung problema sa utang, mga chances are, magsinungaling ka, di ba? O kaya dadayain mo, di ba? At dahil nga nafe-feel natin yung pressure eh, no? At sabi ko nga yung pressure is a result of the testing. But again, theological insight 'yon, no, na hindi tinitempt ng Diyos, no, ang tao para magkasala, no. So I think that's wrong. Yan. Talking about faith, kasi we talk about trials, and then yung diaspora. Talking about faith, according to Patrick Cartin, the rhetorical purpose of the letter is to offer a way of being in the world and to show believers how to lead their lives as members of the 12-tribe kingdom. This is evident from the way the concept of faith operates within the letter. So take note, class, ang pinagkuhanan ko dito, kasi sinasabi niyo, sino si Patrick Cartin? No? Ang Sacra Pahina is a Catholic commentary. Okay? It is a Catholic series ng commentary published ng New Collegeville. New Collegeville Seminary. And when I say, New Collegeville Publishing. And when I say Catholic, so lumalabas, no, na-highlight din even sa ecumenical community yung no, yung kahalagahan ng faith, no, at hindi yung para ma-emphasize lang yung no, yung kaligtasan na nawawala. At nagawa na natin ito sa last meeting dun sa outline kay Douglas Moon, no? Noun or pistis occurs 16 times, no? At nandiyan po yung mga verses, you want to look at them. So when referring to the testing of faith, James intends the faith of the community rather than simply individual faith, which is a repetition, no, Sis April, na yung observation mo a while ago. From the opening of the letter, James shows that his concern rests primarily with the community rather than the individual. This sets the parameters for the interpretation of the exhortations and then moral advice. James communicates. So in other words, hindi ito one-on-one evangelism. No? Kung hindi si James ay nagpipreach sa isang malaking community. Di ba? So yung sermons na to ay para sa kanila, di ba? At let's just say, merong what we call insider-outsider na issue dito. When we say insider, ang kausap dito ni James ay mga tunay na believer. Okay? Mga ano talaga, mga gusto talagang matutunan paano i-practice yung pananampalataya nila. Hindi yung by accident o kaya by random, no? Na ito bang mensahe na to ay para dun sa mga nagsasabing Christian sila pero naman, 'di ba? Ang layo-layo naman ng pamumuhay. So hindi ito para sa kanila, no? Okay. Pero siguro para na rin sa kanila ito para baguhin nila yung no, itama nila yung kanilang pamumuhay, no? Pwede rin nating tingnan sa ganung perspective eh. And then going back to the trials, the audience are to consider falling into these temptations to lose faith not merely with joy, but to be joy. No? Wag muna tayong stop muna tayo dito. Na pag ang tao nadadala sa temptation or pag nadadala tayo sa trials, ang tendency ng mananampalataya is dalawa eh. Una, iset aside mo muna yung ano mo, yung commitment mo sa salita ng Diyos. Ang sabi ng iba doon, hocus pocus, mag-hocus pocus ka muna. At naalala ko, yung pag kunyari na pag-uusapan yung pag mga kababayan natin, ng mga Pilipino na nag-a-abroad, di ba? Nananalangin, Lord, gusto ko makarating ng ibang bansa. And then, kunyari, nandiyan na yung mga nag-aayos na ng paper. Pero, ang ginawa naman, dinaya naman yung edad, no? Dinaya naman yung edad. O kaya naman, for worse, dinaya yung yung marital status, no? Hello, no? So, tapos sasabihin, ito yung kalooban ng Diyos. So, yung mga ganong believer, nakakainis yung mga ganong believer, no? Na ano, no? Na at the point of it, tinatawag pa nila na no, blessing at saka answered prayer. Yung ginawa nila ng pandaraya, no, na dinadaya edad, o kaya ano. Teka lang po. Okay, so yan. Ang expected, ang invitation ni James here is when we experience suffering, dapat daw ay masiyahan tayo. Pero hindi yung masiyahan na, no, na pinilit mong maging masaya. No? Ano kaya ang ibig sabihin? Marahil ang tinutukoy dito ni Bob Gundry at saka ni James, no? Ay hanapin natin yung yung mga ginagawa, hanapin natin yung mga magagandang ginagawa ng Diyos na kahit nandun tayo sa pagsubok, 'di ba? On yung yun, yung slogan na yon, 'di ba? Count your blessings, 'di ba? Count your blessings one by one, 'di ba? So, naka-focus tayo doon sa anong ginagawa ng Diyos. Sa sa psychology ng mga atheist, ang tingin nila sa ginagawa natin, niloloko daw natin yung sarili natin, no? Para daw ang yun, kaya nga um, Karl Marx, no? Sabi, opium of the masses daw, ang religion. Kasi ginagamit daw lang natin daw yung Bible, yung theology, para daw lokohin lang yung sarili natin. Para lang daw sabihin na kahit na pero ano yan eh. Mayroong sense na tama ang sinabi ni Karl Marx, pero hindi niya kasi yun ang starting point niya kasi is 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 based doon sa nangyayari on the ground eh. Which means doon sa tindi, yung tindi nung trial. Tayo kasi baliktad, ang starting point natin ay God, no? Na kahit na tayo ay nalalagay sa trial, napapapreach na tuloy ako eh. Kuya Jerry, napapapreach na, sorry no? Ang starting, ayan, mga kapatid, ayan, nagbago tuloy ako ng tono, mga kapatid, ang starting point natin ay Diyos, di ba? At lumalabas po, ang Diyos ay gusto niya na alalahanin natin siya habang tayo ay dumaranas na sa pagsubok. Rather than, ang bilis-bilis natin sabihin may tinuturo ang Diyos dito sa mga pangyayari na ito. No? So again, merong katotohanan doon. Pero siguro I would rather choose na sabihin na lang natin, tiis pa tayo. No? Mas mag-focus tayo, magtiis pa tayo, kaya na yun. Yung bang wag tayong mawawalan ng pag-asa, di ba? Alalahanin natin yung mga pangako ng Diyos. Siguro yun, kasi again, we are not presenting, there is an essence of theology here, pero binabalik natin siya doon sa Word of God, hindi sa akin, no? Hindi doon sa theology, hindi dahil tayo ay pastor, kung hindi, ibinabalik natin yung tao na siya ay ma-experience na yung tinatawag na Diyos, binabalik natin siya doon sa salita ng Diyos. No? And then, ang sinabi dito, because perseverance results into perfection daw, no? And yung perfection na tinutukoy dito is hindi yung pag na perfect ka hindi ka na nagkakasala, no? So again, yan na naman ang binabato ng mga ng mga Arminian, Hindi ka na magkakasala na kaya mong abutin yung isang category na ikaw ay perfect, sinasabing hindi ka na nagkakasala. Ang tinutukoy niya dito is maturity, okay? Na pag na-develop daw yung character natin, nagiging mature tayo at yung sinasabing mature na wala na tayong inaalala kasi parang bang siguro ayan may mga kuya tayo dito, no? Kuya paggalang po 'yun Pastor Saldi, No, Kuya Jim, no, hindi po 'yan insulto, ano rin ho ako, kuya rin ako sa marami rin tumatawag sa'kin kuya, no, Kuya Jim, no? No,
Oo nga po.
pagrespeto po 'yun, ano, na mga mature na mga mananampalataya 'yan. Masarap kausap yung mga ano, yung mga kuya, eh. Yung sabi ng mga Gen Z, mga tito. Kayo mga tito na. Pero babalikan natin. Ang tinutukoy dito, yung sasabihin, paano yung merong mga nakababata na sasabi, paano mo napagtagumpayan yan, kuya, o kaya pastor, o kaya tito, o kaya kagaya ni Teacher April, di ba? Nasasabi natin na, ano, naranasan ko yan, ano, nahirapan kami, pero pray kami ng Lord, tinulungan kami ng Lord, nalagpasan namin. Pag naririnig mo yon, parang wala lang. Parang paano kaya nangyari yun, di ba? Paano kaya nangyari yun? Hiramin ko yung ano, yung message. Ito, lagi ko 'tong nagagamit sa ano, mga examples ko. Yung sinabi ni Luke Timothy Johnson, excuse ni Luke Timothy Johnson ay ano, no, sabi niya, sa book na pamagat niya, A Living Gospel, ano raw, na pag ang tao raw ay dumaranas ng suffering, no? Parang ang bagal-bagal daw ng takbo ng buhay, no? Ang bagal-bagal ng takbo ng mundo. 'Di ba yung kunyari nandun tayo sa ospital, 'di ba? Yung isang araw na nasa ospital ka, 'di ba? Tapos sasabihin, isang araw ako sa ospital. Pero pag wala ka sa ospital, ang bilis ng isang araw, no? Pero pag nandun ka, ang bagal-bagal kasi pinapapunta ka ng doktor sa ano, no? Lalo na pag tayo yung nag-aalaga, 'di ba? No, whether ikaw yung nag-aalaga o kaya ikaw yung pasyente, 'di ba? Parang ang tagal-tagal ng takbo ng mundo, no? At ano 'yun? Yung nga yung suffering is parang ano, very very painful at napaka anong tawag mo dito? Ang parang inaantay mo na hanggang kailan ba matatapos 'to, no? Hanggang yung bang gusto mo na parang naiinip ka na gusto mo na makawala na agad, no, dun sa suffering na nararanasan, ano? And again, inuulit ko, when we think about those sufferings, yung commitment natin kay Lord, nacha-challenge talaga siya, no? I tell you, no? Nacha-challenge talaga. Pasensya na kayo, gumagamit pa ako ng mga
Per
I tell you, no?
ano po,
Ya
yung usually naman sa mga matanda naman po dun sa church siguro namin dati, ang madalas na naririnig ko kapag na kay Kristo ka daw, yung parang hayahay yung buhay, yung term nila yung parang ano, kapag Kristiyano masayang tunay, yung gano'n lang, yung parang walang room for pain, for sufferings, gano'n. Kasi parang parang okey lahat. Pero yun nga, false hope naman po yun.
Yes, 'no, magandang ano 'yan, yung in-open din si April, magandang discussion 'yan when we talk about ano, 'no, yung biblical lament, 'no, yung mga lament songs na makikita sa Psalms, 'no? In a way, parang yun din yung ano, yung nasa likod nitong ano, 'no, yung pinag-aaralan natin, 'no, that in the sense na ano, 'no, hindi yung kagaya ng kay Karl Marx na Opium of the Masses, 'no? Kung hindi kasi yung Opium of the Masses na sinasabi ni Karl Marx ano talaga, it comes talaga as an insult to Christianity, 'no? Yun yung goal niya, eh. Yun yung goal niya na wag tayo tumingin sa ano, sabi niya tingnan daw natin yung economics at saka political science, 'no? Merong importance yung pag-aaral ng political science and economics, pero hindi siya opium of the masses lamang, 'di ba? Okay, pero thank you ano, thank you sis. However, paano nga ba natin 'yon? Tama ang sinabi mo, eh. So mga manggagawa dito, yung ano lang, yung tulad ng sinabi ni Sister April, ni Teacher April. Paano ba natin ano, i-bridge yung gap? Kung ang tinatalakay lang natin ay puro ano lang, ang buhay ng Kristiyano ay masayang tunay, hep, hep, masayang tunay 'no, hep, hep, 'di ba? So, isang panig lang ng mundo yung ano 'no, hindi isang panig lang ng Biblia kaya naman tuloy anong tawag natin diyan, hindi balance 'no, hindi yung whole counsel of God ang natatanggap ng mga mananampalataya in doing so 'no. Sige. Ayun yung yata
Excuse
yun,
po.
si Kuya Jerry. Kuya Jerry.
Yung ano po kasi sir, naalala ko po kasi yung lolo ko po dati, ano din po siya sa Biblia. Yung sabi kasi niya, pag tinanong mo siya, bakit sa kabila nung mga maraming trials, mga sufferings na nararanasan niya, bakit parang, sabi nga kanina sa pinag-aralan natin, parang wala lang sa kanya, parang positibo pa rin po siya kasi parang nakikita ko rin sa kanya dati sir na positibo siya doon sa mga trials na dumarating sa buhay niya kasi mayroon po yung sinasabi niya yung sinasabi ng Bible na yung reward na kapag nalagpasan mo ito, nalagpasan niya itong trial na to at pagdating ng panahon na nakukuhanin na tayo ni Lord, ay talagang andoon yung reward para sa kanya na pag mananatili siyang tapat doon kay Lord, mayroon siyang reward. Siguro yun yung tinutukoy niya sir, yung eschatological reward na mapapasama siya doon sa kaharian ng Diyos pagdating ng panahon. Kaya kahit na anong sufferings, mga trials na dumarating sa buhay niya, parang wala lang din sa kanya. Siguro yun yung nakikita ko sa kanya, sir, sa pinag-aralan natin ngayon na ba? Parang tama nga, parang ginagawa niyang positibo na lang yung mga trials na yun na pagdating nung panahon na pagdating ni Jesus Christ ay talagang makakasama siya doon. Parang kagaya sa sinabi ni Paul doon sa Philippians 1:21 sir na for to me to live is Christ and to die is gain. Parang ganun po.
Opo, yes, thank you. So ano talaga no, when we talk about the rationale, dapat talaga ipini-preach ito sa church, no? Itong Book of James. Partida opening pa lang tayo ha. Marami pa tayong ano no. Nasa opening first part pa lang tayo ng ano no, ng Book of James, no, first part. I mean, first part ng chapter 1, no, first part ng chapter 1 kasi nahati natin to into ano, 2 sessions. Yes, thank you Kuya Jerry, thank you for that addition. Titingnan pa natin to. So, asking for wisdom kasi yun yung dinugtong eh. So, seeking wisdom, the prime Old Testament example for asking God for wisdom, yung ginawa ni King Solomon. First Kings 3, 5, and 9. Nilagay ko na lang dito yung verses 5 and 9. No? At Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon during the night in a dream, and God said, ask for whatever you want me to give you. So verse 9, so give your servant a discerning heart to govern your people and to distinguish between right and wrong. For who is able to govern this great people of yours? So, ang perspective natin dito ng wisdom is not merely tumalino ka, no? Hindi ganoon. Yung bang nag-acquire ka ng intelligence, no? Kung hindi, sabi dito kagaya ng sinabi ni King Solomon, yung need niya na makapag-administer siya properly, di ba? So nakapalaw pa rin siya dun sa pagiging servant before God, no? And then God was always recognized as the source of wisdom. Kagaya ng sinasabi ni James, for the Lord gives wisdom, no? From his mouth comes knowledge and understanding. Kaya naman, again, we put it in context, no? Hindi ito para lang tumalino ka, yung bang magte-take ka ng board exam, no? Lord, magte-take ako ng board exam. Gagamitin ko itong text na to kasi sabi mo naman, pag humingi ng wisdom. Ang tinutukoy dito, mga kapatid, paano haharapin yung pagsubok? Okay? Kasi nasa pagsubok siya eh. Nasa trial siya eh. Pero sasabihin niya, yung magte-take siya ng board exam, parang trial. Hindi talaga. Hindi talaga yun. Pero God bless talaga sa mga nagte-take ng exam at mga nagpe-pray, no? Mga nagpe-pray ng siguro naman, no, kahit wala sa konteksto, mabait pa rin yung Diyos, no? Para tulungan pa rin yung mga nag-e-exam ng ng mga nagbo-board exam o kaya yun, anyway. So, at syempre, pag yung tao nakakuha ng sagot at nakapasa, di ba? Nag-glorify pa rin naman si Lord. Kahit na wala sa konteksto yung yung tinutukoy dito, no. Baka naman sa likod nito kailangan niya talagang makapasa yung board exam, di ba? Kasi advancement ng kanyang ng life niya. Sabi uli ni Bob Gundry, they may lack wisdom, particularly in how to cope with temptations brought on by the trials of persecution. Such a Christian is to be asking for wisdom as a gift from God. Not you ask, but He's to ask, no? The indirectness of this command softens it and thus makes it sympathetic. Hindi ito parang pautos na humingi ka sa Diyos, di ba? Humingi ka sa Diyos. Kung hindi, yung paraan na sinasabi dito ni Bob Gundry na, bakit hindi po kayo humingi sa Diyos? Ayan. So, hindi yung parang inuutusan pa sila na Yan. Sabi ni Martin de Bellius, the saying in 1:5-8 deals with prayer, not just prayer for wisdom in particular. No? So, yung paghingi sa Diyos is a prayer. No, it's a prayer. But neither is this a saying about doubt, for as shown sa verse 7, na nag-pray ka sa God, tapos nagduda ka naman, di ba? So, ganun din yon. So, humingi ka ng wisdom, pero hindi ka naman din sigurado. No? So, merong sense na, ba't ka pa humingi? O kaya, pinaglololoko mo yata yung Diyos, di ba? Pinaglololoko mo yata yung Diyos. So, meron ganong idea. Kaya naman nandun pa rin yung pagsasalita ni Martin de Bellius. Kung humingi ka, and then you trust God that will answer your prayers, antayin natin yung response niya. At naalala ko na naman dun sa concept ng prayer na tinuturo natin, di ba? Yung pagsagot ng Diyos, di ba? Yes, no, or wait, di ba? Yes, no, or wait. At again, babalik na naman tayo when we talk about suffering. Ayaw natin yung wait eh. Kasi nasanay na tayo dun sa kultura na kanina bago kami kumain ni Matmat, bumili muna kami ng Nesty Apple, instant juice, no? Gusto natin ng gano'n eh, hindi yung pipigayin mo pa yung mansanas, no, kakatasan mo pa yung orange, di ba? Tapos, di ba, may mga buto-buto pa yon, di ba? So, hindi gusto natin instant eh. Kaya naman yung aspect ng waiting, pa rin siya maganda pa rin siyang lesson na tinuturo when we seek wisdom, no? Kaya Craig Keener, the image of being driven on the sea was common in Greek literature. And of course, in Jewish wisdom text, Isaiah 57:20, nilagay ko po dito, no, pati yung Ecclesiasticus or the Wisdom of Ben Sira, 33:2. But the wicked are like the tossing sea, which cannot rest, whose waves cast up mire and mud. Sa Ecclesiasticus naman, the man who is wise does not hate the law, but the one who is a hypocrite about it ends up being tossed around like a boat in a storm. Yun. At bigla ko na naman tuloy naalala yung mga alagad, no? Kasama na nila si Jesus no? Tapos hingi sila ng tulong. Jesus, bakit ka ba tulong ng tulog diyan? Tulungan mo kami rito, di ba? Ayun. Naalala ko doon yung kay Jonah Yung kay Jonah na tinatakasan niya nga yung kalooban ng Diyos, di ba? Tapos sabi ng mga bakit ka ba patulog-tulog lang dyan? Yun, okay. So para kay Craig Keener, in the context of James, asking for wisdom and faith means committing oneself to obey what God reveals. Ang ganda, no? Ang ganda. So naipasok niya dito yung pag humingi ka ng wisdom, tapos yung sinasabi dito ni James na you show your faith, I will show my faith with works, no? Yun. At pinasok niya, yun ay pag merong a truly wise person is sumusunod doon sa kalooban ng Panginoon. So still on Jewish wisdom, text condemn the double-minded, no? So merong negative na no. Well, nakita naman natin sa Isaiah a while ago, parang ganun yung sinasabi. A double-tongued person. And the 1 Chronicles 12:33, experienced soldiers prepared for battle with every type of weapon to help David with undivided loyalty. Ayan. Talagang yung hindi yung yung talagang matapang na susunod doon sa sa kanilang commander, sa kanilang hari na si David. Psalm 12:2, everyone lies to their neighbor, no? They flatter with their lips but harbor deception. So parang kino-connect doon dito ng yung Psalm 12:2 papunta doon sa pagsasalita, di ba? Yung pag nagsasalita ka, tapos yung pagpabago-bago yung sinasabi mo, no? ang chances are para kang ano, no, yung nga, yung ano, no, apoy, no, isang malaking apoy na ano, na sumusunog dun sa ano, no, sa gubat, no. Si Douglas Moo, James mentions wisdom in two passages, 1:5 at saka 3:13-18. Sa biblical theology ito, no? Paano inintindi ang wisdom sa ano? Kasi 2 verses lang siya. In the former, James encourages his readers to ask God for wisdom if they lack it. It may be that James mentions wisdom be here because it is the quality needed if his readers are going to persevere in their trials. Tulungan, paghingi ng tulong. Yung wisdom na yon, ano ang dapat nilang gawin sa mga pagsubok nila. Or alternatively, because wisdom is what is needed to bring about perfection sa pag-build ng character. In 3:13, James castigates some jealous, divisive people in the church who were apparently claiming to be wise by demonstrating the kind of wisdom they possess. So, parang naalala ko rin dito si ano, no, si Paul sa 1 Corinthians, no? Nung pinapagalitan niya, nung pinagsasabihan niya yung mga nagmamagaling dun sa loob ng Corinth, no? Dun sa Corinthian church, no? Yan, wisdom earthly na masyadong makabundong ano, no, wisdom and spiritual, demonic, no, with ay tama-tama, no. Valentine's ngayon, no? Marami dito yung mga tinuturo ng sa kabataan, puro mga ano, no, mga worldly, no. No, ayun. At mamaya pupunta na naman, Pastor. Tama ba na, no? Okay lang po ba na magkaroon ako ng boyfriend na, no? Alam niyo yun, lagi na lang pupunta doon eh. Tayo naman, pangiti-ngiti na lang tayo para bang eto na naman, di ba? Ano naman sasabihin natin, di ba? So, naalala ko lang dito eh. Pero hindi naman siya talaga demonic, no? Baka naman sabihin yun. Si Pastor Edwin, eh, napaka-demonic. Hindi naman, meron, kailangan lang natin i-identify saan nanggagaling yung source. Eh dito sinasabi ni James dito eh, humingi tayo ng wisdom kay God. Kaya so si God yung pinagkukunan natin ng kaalaman na to. The latter is characterized by good deeds and the humble attitude and produces virtues that are conducive to harmonious relations with others. Yun. So, yun yung perspective ng wisdom na maintindihan natin dito. Okay. Isa pa, no? Dito lang po no, sa James 1 to 18, no? Yung discussion between the poor and then the rich. Matatouch din natin ito mamaya when we get doon sa second part yun sa yung Sermon on the Mount sa discussion between the poor and the rich. Ayon kay Craig Keener again, wealthy landowners exploited the poor throughout the empire and Palestine was no exception. Such economic tensions eventually provoke a war against Rome. Na yung mga nagde-declare ng war dito, yung mga masyado nang na-happy, no? Yung masyado na silang nahihirapan, tapos naggagather, tapos merong parang ano yun, yung nagsisimula na parang leader, no? At in the course nito, minsan merong mga, yun nga, Jewish patriots, including yung mga zealots, no? Zealots. Magkaiba yung bandit eh. Pero yung bandit kasi, gusto mo lang magnakaw at pumatay eh. Pero merong mga zealot na parang bandido sila na aatakihin nila yung parang Robin Hood ba? Aatakihin nila yung mga sinasabing mga mapang-aping na mayayaman. Ano yun, at gagamitin nila, ewan ko kung para tulungan ba yung mahihirap o para palakasin yung kanilang puwersa. Martin de Bellis, there are 3 instances where James speaks in behalf of the poor and against the rich. Again, biblical theology ito, no? Na first, yung sa 1:9-11 to 5:12 and then yung 5:1 to 6. Of course, the use of the 2 illustrations in 2:4 and 5 gives unmistakable evidence of his deep sympathy for the poor. Kasi nga, matatalakay natin to when we get there, no? Na nakita yung kahirapan pero wala namang ginawa, no? So again, when siguro next meeting, yun nga yung sa Leviticus 19. Kasi ang idea doon, if you said, pag sinasabi mong you love your neighbor, no? James 2 chapter 8, pag sinasabi mo mahal mo ang kapwa mo, dapat talaga meron kang gawin, At parang pag wala kang ginawa, no? ano rin na sasabihin mo ay pagpe-pray kita, God bless you, no, mga ganon, ano. Pero wala naman talagang ginawa ay ano man. So matcha-challenge dito yung understanding natin ng religion, no? Understanding natin ng religion. Pero maliwanag para kay James ano, no? Ayan, ginamit din si Abraham, no, as dito sa Book of James, no. Na ano talaga, no, tayo ay pinagpapala ng Diyos para ano rin tayo, no? Maging daluyan tayo ng pagpapala para sa iba. So pwede nating tingnan yun from that dimension. Bakit itong tema na to ini-emphasize niya, no, ni James dun sa letter. Again, with Douglas Moo, the letter implies that these Jewish believers were mainly poor people who were caught in a situation of considerable social tension. So again, yung sinasabing trials nila, pwedeng hindi lang ito yung trial ng persecution. Kung hindi simple, wala kang pera, walang kabuhayan. At tayo, we are looking forward dito sa ating mga buwan na darating. El Nino, di ba? Matipid yung tag-ulan, hindi masyadong na yung patubig para sa mga taniman, di ba? Yan. And then, moreover, meron pang oppression, no? Taken advantage by wealthy landlords, no? Hauled into court by rich people, chapter 2, verse 6. Also scorn their Christian faith. Readers are exhorted to be patient and reminded that the coming of the Lord, the judge and deliverer, is at hand, no? At naawa ang Diyos, no? Naawa ang Diyos sa kapanganan ng mga mahirap at saka mayaman. Minsan nga lang, antay tayo ng antay. Siguro kagaya ng mga attitude ng mga rich, no? Antay tayo ng antay na pinag-pray naman kita no? Antay natin na gumawa ang Diyos, pero ikaw yung nandun di ba? Na kung susundan natin yung line of thought na ni James, no? If you agree with me, no, kay James ito galing. Then ano tayo, no? Tayo yung nagiging ano doon. Tayo yung source of blessing para sa tao. Right there, we were placed by the Lord in the right place at the right time, no? Para tayo ay maging blessing. Kaya naman, again, pag-iisipan natin paano natin ito maibababa, no? Sa mga nakikinig sa atin sa church. In Israel, as in every healthy human society, poverty was originally considered a disadvantage. At further, it is a result of the fall, di ba? Genesis chapter 3. Kaya merong kahirapan kasi kasama sa naisumpa yung lupa. Sabi nga raw, di ba, mga tinik, mga matipinik, and then yung matinding init ng ng araw, ng sikat ng araw, di ba? Yun yung yung mararanasan, di ba? So only when Israel no longer possessed their national strength did the idea win acceptance that the poor man was close to God in a special way. This was expressed in two ways. The population itself had become poor since the downfall of the nation. Sila ay nasa so this is politically, they were under the Roman Empire. And then next, the prophet in the exile could speak of the whole people as the needy in a general sense. Isaiah 41 at saka 49. Isaiah 41, the poor and the needy search for water, but there is none. Naalala natin sa Numbers, di ba? The Israel, while they were in the wilderness, their tongues are parched with thirst. But I, the Lord, will answer them. I, the God of Israel, will not forsake them. So napakagandang assurance, no? So hindi talaga ito pang pang ang tag mo dito, prosperity gospel, no? Hello? Hindi ito pang prosperity gospel kasi dito ang tinutukoy, pag walang tubig, mamamatay yung tao. Di ba? Mamamatay. Hindi ito prosperity gospel. Di ba? Yung awa ng Diyos kasi yung Lord, ayaw niya mamatay yung tao. Kaya naman, minsan nai-irritate ako sa prosperity gospel. Hindi ba nila naintindihan na mga tao ito tinutukoy tunay na pagkauhaw, di ba? Isaiah 49:30, shout for joy, you heavens, rejoice. Burst into song, you mountains, for the Lord comforts His people and will have compassion on His afflicted ones. No? Yung afflicted ones, by the way, 49:13, yung Greek nito, kasi di ba, letter in Hebrew yung conversation between Isaiah at saka yung community ng Israel was, or the Jews, no? Was in Hebrew. Pero yung Greek nito, pag sinabing afflicted one, pwede rin siya about the poor. About the poor. So there are 3 instances. Teka lang. Yun, oh. Nakita na lang. More the use of the 2 illustration. Okay. One occasion, James bases his animosity toward the rich upon unpleasant experiences which had not he himself but apparently the Christian communities had with the rich. No? Yung sa kanilang yung kagaya niyan, may mga nangingisda, 'di ba? Naalala natin si James, si John, si Peter at saka si Andrew. Mga mangingisda sila, 'di ba? Tapos tapos nila nanghuli, nandiyan na naman yung mga Romano, 'di ba? Oy, 'di ba? Yung kanta diyan penge naman ako diyan, 'di ba? Penge naman ako diyan, 'di ba? So, ayun, at doon sa 12 disciples, sinong kasama nila? Si Matthew, 'di ba? So, pagkatapos nila manghuli ng isda, si Matthew. Matthew na doon, no, alagad ng mga Romano, nangingi. Kaya nga, parang ang hirap isipin paano nagkasundo to mga 12 alagad na to, na iba-iba yung ugali, no? At another point, he uses a most threatening tone in prophesying the punishment of the rich for their abhorrent lifestyle. And all rich people appear to be guilty of such conduct. And at the beginning of his letter, no, medyo na-generalize yung mga mayayaman dito, no? Maging clear tayo na mayroon din mga mayayaman na matitino, no? So, hindi natin gagamitin yung word na all. When we talk about this text, James speaks of the self-evident destruction of the rich, as though everyone with possessions were on the brink of perdition. Kung hindi nila talaga gagamitin yung godly wealth, no? Or yung sinabi ko kanina, yung the rich young man na nalungkot siya about yung kanyang kayamanan, contrast ito with Zacchaeus, di ba? Si Zacchaeus, nung narinig niya si Jesus nung kumakain sila doon, sabi ni Zacchaeus, di ba, yung mga lahat ng mga dinaya ko, aabutan ko. Tapos sabi niya, pag may dinaya pa siya uli, ibig sabihin, may tunay na pagbabagong naranasan siya, no? Zacchaeus. Okay. End of part 1. Baka meron kayong mga tanong. Sige, kung wala, break tayo, 15 minutes, no? Break tayo 15 minutes.